10 News begins with breaking news.
And right now, crews are trying to recover the body of a man dangling from an Escondido cliff. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Kimberly Hunt in for Lindsay Pena. 10 News reporter Matt Boone is there with the breaking details for us. Matt?
Kimberly, Steve, CAL FIRE was successfully able to retrieve that person from a cliff behind me, but unfortunately we have just learned that the injuries that person sustained were too great by the time that they got him here behind us. You can see where the ambulance and fire crews are right now, that man has been declared deceased. We're told that he was climbing across the canyon here, and we've actually got Sky 10 live up overhead with possibly a better view of where this happened. This is in rural Escondido. We're off of Highland Valley Road behind a winery and avocado farm. That man was apparently replacing batteries to some wildlife photography equipment that's located on some of these steep canyons behind here. And in doing so, at some point, slipped and fell. They were climbing using climbing ropes. There was another person there helping and watching that called 911 after this happened. It's unclear exactly how or why that person slipped while climbing, but by the time the rescuers were able to get here, unfortunately, they brought that person. They tried to do CPR. They had ambulances. They had also called in an air helicopter, a medical helicopter, to bring that person to the hospital, but that was called off after the CPR proved to be unsuccessful. Reporting live in Escondido, Matt Boone, 10 News.
Tragic, Matt. Thank you. An armed standoff in the middle of an El Cajon neighborhood ended in dramatic fashion when a man barricaded inside shattered the window while police tried to get him out. That scene unfolded this afternoon at an apartment complex near Hamishaw Road and Dorothy Street. 10
News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz is joining us now. Jennifer, this all ended with a canine takedown.
Well, police officers initially came out here to question the man for domestic violence, and that's when it all started to escalate. You can see the windows there both boarded up behind me, glass completely shattered from where that suspect at one point tried breaking out. A swarm of red and blue lights around the Grove Apartments in El Cajon, a man barricading himself behind the glass of this first floor window.
Well, we heard the cops say that he made a comment saying that he was going to burn the apartment down.
With choppers overhead and a police drone circling outside, officers tried to get him out.
Has basically been in that window, banging on the glass, taunting us or them, flipping off the cops.
Police telling this neighbor to stay back.
We know that you want to watch, but we do want you guys to be careful because you are in the line of fire.
Suddenly, glass shatters after the man breaks the window from the inside. Police guns drawn, officers crouching behind patrol cars. He then breaks the glass again, putting up a mattress to block the opening.
Well, I just seen him break the windows out, and then he put the air mattress up against it.
Through the broken glass, the man sticks his head out. Our cameras rolling as you see a clear view of his face, yelling at officers outside.
Because you just don't know what's going on in there. You don't know whether he's going to pull a gun out and start shooting. You just don't know what somebody like that's capable of.
Around the other side of the unit, police break in the front door and release a canine. The dog attacked, allowing officers to finally restrain him. Then a calmer scene as police give him water and wait for an ambulance.
It's crazy. It's just crazy that stuff like that can go on.
That man has minor injuries from that dog attack. He is in police custody and recovering in the hospital tonight. Fortunately, no one else here was hurt. Reporting live tonight in El Cajon, Jennifer De La Cruz, 10 News.
Thank you, Jennifer. And turning now to our weather, a quick-moving storm is bringing showers and some cooler temperatures to San Diego County.
A lot of raindrops on that lens. Our meteorologist Angelica Campos tells us this is not going to last too long, though.
That's right. Quick moving is the best way to describe this. Showers and then quickly moving out. Some of you have seen some of that rain since about 4:15, and that includes areas like PB, Mission Valley. Let's get a little bit closer to where it's actually coming down. We had a band of rain from La Jolla down to Chula Vista, but it's now moving farther east. Another one is already setting up just offshore. We're going to be tracking that one next as it continues moving off to the east. You can see the movement, everything pushing south, the winds coming out of the west, northwest, and that's because of the storm system. But this is why it's going to move so fast. There's that front in once that front clears, all the rain will be completely out of here. So we're expecting conditions to be dry by late tonight, but for the next couple of hours, we'll continue tracking showers.
All right. Thank you, Angelica. You can follow the changing weather conditions by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News. Now to a crime alert. Extra security was on hand at an Alpine middle school today after students said that they were approached by a stranger.
10 News reporter Cassie Carlisle is in Alpine. And Cassie, the sheriff's department says the reported incidents involved somebody in a truck.
Yeah, Kimberly, Steve, the children described the truck as a light-colored four-door lifted truck with tinted windows, and they just confirmed in the last 20 minutes that there were multiple instances where children were walking to and from the middle school.
Parents on alert after the Alpine Union School District sent this message to parents and posted on their Facebook page.
We're about 2 miles away from the middle school on Victoria near Sneath Way, and this is where the school district says that the kids were approached.
The sheriff's department said a white grayish four-door truck with tinted windows slowed down near the children. The driver and passenger did not talk to or touch the children.
If he doesn't get what he wants in Alpine, he might go to Alcone, he might go to Lost Coaches, he might go over to Granite, he might go to a different school to try to get what they're looking for. So it is scary, so we always have to be diligent.
The district diligent as well, speaking with Alpine Sheriff's Department saying there will be deputies after the final bell rings at school, as well as extra patrols.
I teach her that it doesn't always look like what you think it is. It's not always a monster, it's not always someone who's going to be mean, they're not always going to look like they're going to hurt you.
Parents taking this time to remind their kids about stranger danger.
Be as obnoxious as you can because they won't want you then. Scream, yell, kick, whatever you have to do, you make the biggest scene.
There was a post online of a similar incident with a similar description of a truck, but we have not been able to confirm that instance with the Sheriff's Department. If you have any information, please report to the Sheriff's Department nearest you. Reporting live here in Alpine, Cassie Carlisle, 10 News.
Yeah, run, fight, scream. Good advice from that mother. Thank you, Cassie. The San Diegan, who was shot at Northern Arizona University almost 5 years ago, won't have to go through the ordeal of another trial. That's because today, Stephen Jones pleaded guilty to manslaughter. Jones shot and killed Colin Breaux and injured 3 others, including San Diegan Nick Prado. Jones said it was self-defense after a fight. He faces up to 10 years in prison. His plea comes just weeks before his new trial was scheduled to begin. In the first trial, the jury deadlocked on murder and aggravated assault charges.
Love them or hate them, there is about to be a lot less electric scooters on the streets of San Diego. Lime has announced today it is pulling out of the city. The electric scooter company says its exit is part of a, quote, path to profitability. As part of that plan, the company is also taking their scooters out of Atlanta, Phoenix, and San Antonio. Uber pulled its scooters back in September. In December, the city council did vote to ban electric scooters from several of the city's boardwalks. County Supervisors Diane Jacob and Nathan Fletcher addressed the vaping epidemic here in San Diego. Today, the two held a news conference to explain their crackdown on the sale and the distribution of flavored e-cigarettes and tobacco. They also released new numbers on vaping-related illnesses in the county. According to Jacobs, there are now 43 victims in local hospitals. She says they range in age from 17 to 70, and just over half of them are male.
Doing nothing at this point is not an option. We must take action because it is a public health issue.
And that conference comes after the San Diego Unified School District filed a lawsuit against Juul Tuesday.
San Diegans on the brink of homelessness could soon be getting some much-needed help from the state. It's a key part of a new $1.4 billion plan the governor unveiled this week.
Our 10 News reporter John Horn is live in the newsroom. And John, this would be cash to protect people from eviction.
It would. This is a big part of the plan. We're talking $750 million fund that would, among other things, give people money to make the rent before becoming homeless. That's just one part of the proposal that Governor Gavin Newsom unveiled today that could add more housing and shelters across our county.
So this, I think, will really help folks struggling.
Homeless advocate Michael McConnell says he's thrilled after reading Governor Newsom's new proposal to address California's homeless crisis.
We need to untap every asset at our disposal to put it toward not just lifting folks who are homeless off the street, but providing more affordable housing to people struggling to make ends meet.
Newsom says he's tapping every tool in his toolbox to get people off streets and into services, whether that be housing, mental health, or substance abuse treatment. About half of his $1.4 billion budget proposal will invest in Medi-Cal to boost health services. The other half creates a fund that supports projects to add more homes, helps stabilize board and care housing facilities, and will pay rent for people on the brink of homelessness.
I have people in our tent right here in their 80s over here. They're in that bridge shelter simply because they're poor. They don't have mental health issues, no drug and alcohol issues, non-traditional homeless folks. They're just poor. That's not fair, man.
Newsom's plan also seeks new places to add housing. It calls for the state to use its own land to house individuals on a short-term basis. That includes Caltrans sites right off freeways, decommissioned hospitals, and fairgrounds.
Now, one of the more interesting things we learned in the course of our reporting today is that one of those locations that could have been housing will actually become the site of the next shelter for migrants seeking asylum. Now, Jewish Family Service will operate that, and for security reasons, they've asked us not to disclose the location at this time. The others are in downtown El Cajon and Oceanside. For now, live in the newsroom, John Horn, 10 News.
Sounds like a plan. All right, John, thank you. In the last 2 hours, the House has voted to block any use of force against Iran without the authorization of Congress. The president has said in the past that he will only consult Congress on a case-by-case basis. This comes after a drone strike that killed a top Iranian general. That led to retaliation from Iran in the form of 16 missiles launched at 2 Iraqi bases housing American troops. Some lawmakers who received a classified briefing on that drone strike left dissatisfied.
Probably the worst briefing I've seen, at least on a military issue, in the 9 years I've served in the United States Senate.
The president hit Iran with fresh sanctions after it launched that missile attack. U.S. officials are now saying it is highly likely the Ukrainian passenger plane that crashed Wednesday morning in Iran was shot down by an Iranian missile.
All 176 people on board died. As ABC's Marcy Gonzalez reports, the crash happened hours after Iran launched missiles at U.S.-occupied military facilities in Iraq.
Video from the last tracked position of the Ukrainian 737 that crashed in Iran shows what appears to be a missile hitting something in the sky that then erupts in flames. Canada's Prime Minister, the first world leader to say the plane was likely shot down by Iran's anti-aircraft system, killing all 176 people on board.
The evidence indicates that the plane was shot down by an Iranian surface-to-air missile. This may well have been unintentional.
The jetliner disappearing from radar soon after takeoff from Tehran early Wednesday morning, just hours after Iran fired missiles at American targets in retaliation for the U.S. killing one of their senior officials. Iran blaming the crash on possible mechanical failure, saying it is scientifically impossible that a missile has hit the Ukrainian plane. President Trump calling the crash suspicious.
Somebody could have made a mistake. Some people say it was mechanical. I personally don't think that's even a question, personally.
Iranian investigators will now examine the jetliner's black boxes and the wreckage now cleared from the site. Some experts pointing to that hole in the fuselage blown from the outside in as possible evidence of a missile strike. Iran says it has invited other impacted countries to participate in the investigation, including the U.S., since the Boeing jet was manufactured here, and Ukraine, which says its experts are looking at several possible causes. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Los Angeles.